Alright, today we're doing an unboxing on a PRS SE Hollowbody 2 with Piezo pickups and 2 humbuckers. Bought from Sweetwater by a customer of mine. And let's see how she looks here. There's your motorcycle seat. All right, well, we got another box it looks like to deal with here. We got a box and a box. Lots of packing. Looks like she's packed real well from Sweetwater. Oh, and I got candy again from Sweetwater. Oh, how sweet. I don't eat candy. No thanks. Anyway, here we go. Pull this thing out this way, I guess. Here we go. Whoops. Here we go. All right. Now we got another box. Okay. Well, let's see what we got in this one. Hopefully we'll get to the guitar. Alright. Alright. Yeah. Here we go. Here's the case. Smart to get it in the case. Whenever you buy a guitar, always try to get it with the case. You're going to buy a case for it anyway, eventually. Why not have it fully protected, right? In shipment. All right. And here we have the case and the guitar. Let's take a look. Here we are. Pretty guitar. I'm going to do a basic setup on this and install some locking tuners. Guess that foam. You know, this is one thing right here that is really a no-no. You see how they put foam up here in this pocket right here? Well, one time I got a call from a local blues club owner. He had a performer about to go on stage, and he had a big Gibson I think an L5 or an L7. Anyway, he was going to play that night, and he opened the case up, and the headstock was snapped off. Gibson guitar. So he said, "I'm going to bring it over to you. We don't know what happened. They ain't dropped it or nothing." And I opened up the case, and the player had a rag about the size of a softball balled up right there. And that's a no-no, because if you set the case down just a little bit too hard, you can snap a headstock off on anything that's in here. So you don't want to put stuff in there, okay? You don't want to carry cables or mics, or I've seen everything from foot pedals up there. You don't want anything ever in this space on the guitar case, because it needs to have that open space so it'll have some wiggle room. You won't bust off the headstock if somebody drops the guitar case. I've seen it happen in pickup trucks too. A guy put a guitar in a pickup truck and set it like that. Go around a corner too fast and it plops over. Looks like we got a little case wear here. Looks like this case is, you take a look, looks scarred. That's supposed to be a brand new case. So Sweetwater has either sent a case that's scuffed up, or it got scuffed up in shipping, but I see no evidence of it getting scuffed up in shipping. So looks like they just grabbed a case that maybe they wanted to get rid of. I don't know. Who knows anymore, right? All right, so the battery is hanging out of the guitar, I just noticed. And this was supposed to have been I think what they call a 55-point inspection with this guitar, or something like that. Well, we're going to we don't need to do 55 points. There's just a few points we need to look at to see if it's all right. Now, First thing I want to do is get to the tuning of this. What we did with that tuner? I wonder if that tuner's over here in this case. Cased up. All right, so put my little snark on there. How far off is the tuning? Everything looks a little bit flat, which is to be expected. Oh, I just heard that storm come in out there. Expecting a lot of wind today and maybe some rain. All right, tune it up to pitch. All right. Looks like they needed to make a 55-point inspection of that case as well. But anyway, it's tuned up to pitch now. The first thing we're going to look at is the truss rod adjustment. Pretty guitar. Got a wraparound bridge with piezos on it. Very interesting. A wraparound with acoustic saddles. That's pretty impressive actually. Let's see where the truss rod is. The truss rod is loose. The gap I got on that fingerboard, I could probably slide a dime or a nickel in that gap. So that's a pretty good gap. So first of all, the truss rod needs to be tightened. And the action is, where's the action at on this guitar? All right, we're 70 thousandths to 90 thousandths, which is a good low action. Problem is the truss rod's loose. So when we straighten out the truss rod here, it's going to lower that action down to about 60 or 50 thousandths there. So because it's going to bring the fingerboard closer to the strings. So because of that, the action is going to have to be raised after the truss rod is adjusted. So we're going to do a setup on it now. Basic setup, and we'll have to remove these tuners first, put in the new locking tuners. Here are the factory tuners that it comes with, and they're pretty good tuners, but the very best tuners are the PRS locking tuners, this set right here. And for this guitar, and they should retrofit just right. You can buy these PRS locking tuners for your PRS. They fit right in. They're great locking tuners. These I think represent the final evolution of their locking tuners. They had several types they worked with over the years. I didn't like all of them, but I do like these a lot. So we got a, looks like an electronics by Alpha in there, an Alpha switch. Oh, let's check the pulse. Let's see what kind of pulse we got. It's got a battery because of those piezos. Looks like we got a magnetic pickup, mag. So we've got the magnetic pickups in this output to test first. Pretty good equalization on the pickups. That will be for the piezo. So if we go over here to piezo, this is the mixed piezo and magnetic pickup there. Now we got just pickups. Now we got just piezo. Sounds great. Turn the pickups back up. Piezo. All right. Well, so far I really like this thing. I mean, I just love the design. It's very light. It has some beautiful maple binding all around it. There's a little bit of a, let's see, is that a scratch there? Wonder about that. Might be a scratch on it. Let me look here. Well, there's a little bit of a fine scratch there, but ain't nothing to worry about really. Everything's checking out. Looks like everything. Oh, nice beveled back. Nice double cut. Boy, you get it all with this thing. You get a hollow body, double cut, 2 humbuckers and piezos, and a wraparound. Wow. And it's fairly light. I'm not sure of the weight of it, but I'll find out right now, because we're going to put it on the scale. And this is my little makeshift scale. Don't laugh, it does work. So I just hook me something in like that. Make sure it's on 0. At least it's digital. And we're going to see what she weighs in at. That ought to be quite interesting. And this will be with the old hardware, but I don't think the new tuners are going to make much of a difference. Let's see here. 6.31. Buddy, that is a light guitar. That's a light one. 6.31. So that's, balanced nicely. It's got a more of a D-shaped neck, kind of like what they call a boat radius, sort of. Reminds me of anyway. And I don't know what the fingerboard radius is in the specs, but it looks like it's about a 9.5, maybe a 10. So, and it's called a Piezo. That's what they call it. Cutaway 2. And next part of this video, we'll come back on the setup and see how the setup is going. One of the things we noticed about this guitar is that it has some sharp fret ends. Now, this being an Indonesian-made guitar, that does happen on some of them, but this is a $1,500 guitar, from what I understand, and shouldn't have these sharp fret ends. So we're going to smooth those out a little bit, and we're going to zoom up here. We can see how this is done with a fret dressing file. Okay, you can bring it a little closer so we can show the viewers how this is done. These fret dressing files have a rounded bottom edge, and then they have a squared sharp edge on the other end. But the rounded edge goes down on the fingerboard so that you don't put file markings on the fingerboard. And you just do a motion like this on each fret end, and it smooths them out. They're pretty sharp. Pretty sharp there. I've seen worse, but I wouldn't expect it on something over $1,000. I really just wouldn't expect it. I don't see this on $500-600 guitars. So anyway, you need to be a little more careful with these, I think. All the way down each side on each fret wire. Okay. All right, the next thing I'm going to check here are the frets. Make sure they're all level. And a lot of times when you get a guitar from the other hemisphere, like if it comes from Jakarta, where the Indonesian factory is for Samick, it comes over here. There's something about changing hemispheres with these guitars that causes the frets to dance around a little bit. And you can't even tell by looking a lot of times. You have to put a fret rocker on it to see. So just dressed off the fret ends. They're all nice and smooth now. Now I'm going to check them for leveling. I've adjusted the truss rod so that the fingerboard is straight. And now we're going to see if these frets are all level. There's one right there. Usually it is frets in the center that go loose, because as you work with the truss rod and the neck bows, it has a tendency to kind of push frets up in the center a little bit sometimes. So I'm just going to give this one a nice little tap. That should do it right there. Ooh, I saw it go down. Yes, sir, it did. All right, went down that time, but it not quite. All right, let's see how that is. Yep, that did it. Yep, level now. Just need to be tapped in. I'm going to come back and check that fret in a minute Now, I'm not saying that frets have to be like 100% level, because really that's not necessary. All fret work is going to be just a hair off somewhere. But you want them to be as level as possible, because if you have one fret that's a little bit high, sometimes a little too high, I should say, then with low action setups like I do, you will have buzzing on that fret. So you want to be able to get the action nice and low. Now we're actually going to have to take that fret down a little bit, because I don't think it's laying down. Let's see this one. One there in the upper register. It's a little bit high. I bet you didn't know you had to do all this to one of these guitars, did you? Well, you don't have to, but if you want a good setup, you want it like 100%, then the way you do that is check the frets. Now you got to check that last fret. This is the way I do it. Just slide that rocker over there, and as long as it clears that fret, it's okay. And this one can appear high, but it can actually be that the last fret is lower. So I slide it up to that fret and see if it stops. Yes, it is running into that fret wire. And I've already tapped it. I'm through tapping it. I'm going to file it. So I get me just a flat steel file like this. Take it down just a little bit. Leveled it right off. Go over here to this one. I think it was this area here. Yes, number 6. Fret wire number 6. And it's back up again. So it's not going to stay down. So we're going to have to file it down a little bit. Be careful if you ever use one of these. It takes material off quick. That's why I use it. This one, plus this one is real dull, so it's safe. But man, you want to keep it on that fret, because if you go off that fret wire, you can put a file marking in that fingerboard. Alright, yeah, gotta go down more. Gotta go down some more. And then we're going to crown them off. Alright, we're getting there. Do this incrementally. Sometimes when you do this, you discover that a neighboring fret is also too high. Sorry folks, I meant to turn my air off for this video, but trust you can hear me with that machine running over there. So yeah, we're there now. This side needed it too. See how that's doing. Okay, we're there. Now take a fret re-crowning file, offset dressing file from Stuart McDonald, and just take this and round that up just a little bit. Because you want to round it, you want your fret wire, you don't want flat spots on your fret wire, because that's bad for intonation. So you want to round it up a little bit here to fix that. Alright, so we should be good now with level frets. At least the fret won't be a problem when it comes to lowering the action. Yep, we got it fully set up now. I got our locking tuners on there, and man, these are great locking tuners. These PRS, very simple, easy to use. And I had to do some fret leveling, and we got the truss rod adjusted, got the intonation right. We got a set of flat wound, the chrome 10s on this from D'Addario. I got the pickup heights adjusted, and this came with a really nice nut height over here. I didn't have any issues with the nut height. That was cut very nicely from the factory. So what we got now is the operation of the Piezo pickups, which are in the saddle. Hear that? And then we've got the humbuckers also. So the volume for these is here. There's your pickups. And then you can dial your piezo in. And I usually go down the tone a little bit. standing here with this balanced like that. Nice intonation. Yeah, I'd say this guitar is worth $1,500. I mean, heck, you get wraparound bridge with acoustic saddles. By the way, this bridge, there's two things I wanted to point out that I didn't earlier. Normally when you go to restring a wraparound bridge, you, I mean I do, I take it off the guitar, it just slips right off these studs, and then you can just feed all the strings into it and have them dangling and then put it back on. With this one, however, you can't do that because it's got a wire for the acoustic saddles that is connected there. So and the board's over here down inside the guitar. You can see it when you look in there. You can actually see the board for the acoustic saddles, which is which makes them active. So anyway, let's see. We got a battery compartment here, and I've already tried each of the independent plug-ins. One's just for pickups. This one for the mix. I think the mix sounds far better than running them separately. Mixing them up, it just, to me, it's better to run it in a mono mix. So it sounds better. They just really, and you can color the sound so nicely. All right, now the tone knob only works for the pickups. The tone knob does not work for the piezo. For example, here I took the pickups all the way down. Okay, yeah, I've got the saddles. See, no tone. And that's normal. That's normally the way these systems are. No tone. You don't get any tone until you get to the pickups. Now you got tone. So when you mix them together, what I like to do, leave the tone open, leave the volume open, and then come up with these. Come up with those saddles. And they're hot. I mean, this thing will feed back. Right there. It's got a really nice punchy tone with those acoustic saddles. I mean, beautiful. So you can dial it up, and then if it's a little too trebly, take it down. Taking these down. I got his piezos up. I mean, standing here, this is loud. takes more pickup with that piezo, you don't have as much of a feedback issue. So man, I love this guitar. I mean, it's light, it's beautiful, it's well made. Just a little bit of issues, you know, with frets and the setup, but overall, hey, it's a great deal. And earlier, the other thing I wanted to say was that this not actually made in Indonesia. This is Chinese, and it's built by Cort. It says Cor-Tek, and I believe that's Cort guitar in China, which is a huge factory. So this is made in China, and not a problem there. At least with this Chinese guitar, there ain't no issues. So anyway, hope you liked the video, and I hope this helps someone, and maybe they're looking at one of these and they've got now all the info they need, I hope. Thank you. Have a good day.